Today on Uncommonly Good MTG, we're playing Golgari 80, which means it's a Golgari deck, black and green, and 80, meaning an 80% chance of winning. Based upon where I found over on Untapped on Aether Hub. That's where we got it from. All right, this time we're playing a Golgari Toxic deck, and it's not Dimir. And so it's going to be interesting, it's going to be aggressive, and it's going to be something that they can't use life gain to fight against you with. If that sounds interesting to you, then stay tuned to find out more. Hello and welcome to Uncommonly Good MTG. I'm your host, the Chief Executive Assistant to the Viceroy of Darkness, Dr. Yukon Suckett. Yes, thank you.
Film before live studio audience.
Thank you so much, Yukon Suckett. We're dear mama. So I'm broadcasting to you today from my secret underground headquarters, and I'm bringing to you a deck I found over on the Aether Hub, posted by the MTGA-Assistant-Meta, simply referred to as Golgari, but it has an 80% win rate, and it is chock full of toxic funness. Now, I'm not usually a fan of toxic decks, just because usually they're Dimir, and Dimir just is pretty much control. All you're doing is card draw and creature kill, just direct creature kill over and over again. And then all you're doing is to just point of damage, and then it's like, or toxic. Next thing you know, you're 10 and you die. You didn't get a chance to do anything. In this one, we're actually playing aggro creatures, and we're playing with a good amount of individual creature control, and we're passing out toxic counters. So yeah, it should be fun, it should be interesting, and it should be different than Dimir. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the cards of this deck. We'll talk a little bit about how it should work, and then we'll go out and we'll crush some hopes and dreams. What do we got going on? We got Death Touch and Toxic. We've got just Death Touch, no Toxic. Ooh, what's up with that? This guy passes out poison counters whenever a creature you control becomes the target of a spell. Pay attention to that for later. Here's Basilisk Collar, which allows you to equip a creature with Death Touch and Lifelink. That doesn't seem to have anything with Toxic so far. Let's see. Exile target creature if it has mana value of 3 or less. If they have 3 or more poison counters, then you could exile any creature, not just 3 or less. So that doesn't really help out giving Toxic to people, but it makes good use of it. Toxic and Proliferate. This one gives any creature you have Toxic 2, and then when it dies, you return the creature from the battlefield to your control. Great. That's great. The extra Toxic will turn like a little dude into a Toxic 3, essentially. Fynn the Fangbearer. Suddenly things start to come into focus here. Why is Fynn here? He's got Death Touch. He doesn't have any Toxic on him, but it says whenever a creature you control with Death Touch deals damage to a player, that player gets 2 poison counters. So essentially Death Touch becomes Toxic 2, which means Bilious Skulldweller becomes Toxic 3 just because it has Death Touch on it, provided that Fynn's out. So you put Bilious out on turn 1, and that means, and if you can get Fynn out on turn 2, you could be doing 3 points of toxicity on turn 2. Awesome. Infectious Bite. You could deal damage to a target creature under control from one of your creatures and give a poison counter to each of your opponents, in this case, the opponent, which means that if you do it from one of your Death Touch guys, no matter how big they are, they will die. So this will basically kill any creature on your opponent's side and give your opponent a Toxic counter. This is all starting to come into focus now, huh? What do we go? Card draw and give your opponent a poison counter. They have to sacrifice a creature or a planeswalker of their choice and get a poison counter. So we're starting to get to that normal Dimir control kind of situation. But it's not Dimir. There's no blue. We're not doing a whole lot of card draw, but that's it right back there. Card draw, but we lose life. This is in here. I'm not a big fan of it. I know card draw is your friend. I just wish it gave out more poison counters somehow. Proliferate, maybe. And then this guy is Toxic 1 with an additional Proliferate and Trample. So, and these lands are what those lands do. So what are we going to do? We're going to get our guys out. We're going to try to pass around Death Touch, get out of Fynn, who's going to make every Death Touch become additional 2 counters. We're going to use these other control cards to pass out more counters. And it's just be as fast and aggressive and passing poison out as fast as possible, taking out whatever blockers they put in the way with our ability to do control, and winning the game. All right, so that's it. Now, before we do our damage, let's do as we do every night. Let's say our prayers and talk about what is best in life. Hands together. Dear Black Queen Shouldered, who dwells within the dark chambers of my heart, please hear my prayers and grant your blessings as we attempt to crush our enemies, see them driven before us, and to hear the lamentations of the women. All right, playing against Open Book, 1201. Keep. Ooh, if we get out Fynn on the next turn, this guy would be passing out like 3 poison counters. Is that a deal? Play this in a weird way. I think that'll work. There we go. I would definitely like to have more mana than this, but we're doing really well. I think that might be it right there. That's it. Winner, winner! Victory dinner! All right, we're playing against Dylan. That's just a name, Dylan. There you go. 1, 2, 3. Anything we go easy with? Yeah, we can. Keep. All right, not you then. We'll start playing the other guys first. Question is, would he give up the Land of War Elf for Skulldweller? Probably. I would. Just like I give it up to get rid of that guy. Give it away, give it away, give it away now. I will come out slow. Sure, no, the land sounds great. You think this guy's playing full-on elves? I mean, Land of War could be in anything. Dinosaurs, huh? How much did it cost? 2 to put out? All right. Or 2 to equipped. Exile! Absolutely. Keep it going, baby. You think he's going to be playing Roots? Have we just not seen any black yet? I doubt it. Gone. This guy have Death Touch? No, he just Proliferate. And Toxic. All right. Are we looking at here? No man lands or anything. Those lands are just lands for the most part. This guy's counting up. All right, damage has been dealt. See, the thing is whether he wants to actually block the big time damagey boy. But he's willing to give up Serac for it? Not at all. All right, he's up to 7. Let's just flood the board. And we got a Death Touch landmine right there. If he wants to come, that thing's going to be dead. You can try to green fight it or whatever. Yeah, come at me, yo. You got some sort of weird pump with a single green. I'm down to 5. All in, all in, and boom, boom goes the room. Victory. All right, we're playing against Symposium. Somebody looked at this big tentacle horror and said, you know what? This guy looks like a guy that directs music. All right, getting out Fynn on next turn will be really super cool. Because they get an additional 2 points of toxic off that guy. Life gain is nothing against toxic boys. All right, there's 3. I'll draw me some cards. I could potentially do that. Got to worry about whether or not he's going to wipe a board at some point. That'll pretty much end the game. Let's deal some damage. And we win. Writing was on the wall. Victory! All right, we're playing against Frankenstein 7777. He's coming tapped. All right, we're going to just go out there fast. I would love to get Fynn on the next turn. That'd be great, but I don't think it's going to happen. Of course, that is just a little landmine for you, is all that is. Ooh, he lets it go. Are we both playing Fynns at this point? Good. All right, that's 2 additional, baby. I got a lot of Fynns. You can keep trying to kill it if you want. All right, so our hope is... God, what do we got here? That's just attacking with it. We usually have a guy that's pretty big here pretty quick. That's not bad. I'm not going to block it. Let's put 2 additional there. That's fine. All right, here's your choice. You can try to block. It doesn't matter to me. It's all about the poison, baby. All right, it does matter to me. This guy's playing some tricksy stuff. All right, you willing to give it up? Either way, whoever you block, your guy's gonna die. And we win! That is toxic for you. All right, playing against Ainzmtg. Ains. Keep. You need to come at me, brah? And nothing for me. All right, getting out of Fynn. He's got a big old Fynn butt. Hopefully he doesn't get shot. All right, we'll just give it up. I know that's stuff for him, but that's the guy I don't have to worry about. All right, there you go. You wanna trade? We can do it. These are not creature kills, they're just card draws. I'm not a big fan of that. We haven't scored any poison on them at all yet. That is bad. There we go. I'm going to try the Bloated Contaminator. Hopefully we'll be able to kill it. Infectious Bite. And most you could do would be 2 to me. All right, cool. We got him up to 3. Let's get this going. Oh, he doesn't have Death Touch, does he? We'll pop it out. We can get that started on the next turn. And we win! In your face, Davy Jones! Alright, we are playing against NoxIgnis. All right, we got a guy out green, huh? All right, cool. Black. I like that. I'm going to go for another Venerated Rotpriest. That's fine. Guess we had no choice otherwise at this point. All right, Singleton out. Infectious Bite. We start loading him up with poison. This will get him to 5. All right, that's half of his... 6. He's halfway. He's more than halfway there to dead. I'm not going to do it for you, baby. There's 2 more. I'll good game this guy now. And a billion poison counters. Victory! Alright, we're playing against Eudes. Oh, let's get rid of Tinybones. Turn off the horse. They're too stompy and whiny. All right, you got it, man. So proliferation is going to start to be a bad thing for you. All right, I'm going to go in with just what I got. And Bloated Contaminator. Well, he is trying so hard. See, I was hoping I'd be able to put the... What's that called? The Necrogen Communion on one of the bigger guys, but we'll work with what we got. Boy, he's playing big red control. And another. All right, I only got to get one more in, and we can kill him off with that thing. Nice. This is just it. Didn't even need to. Victory! All right, here we are with Golgari 80, which stands for 80%. Yeah, man, I got a 90% with this deck. 90%. It was a monster. It was destroying people. The kind of deck that that went up well against this deck was a swarm deck. Because our big problem is we got a lot of little tiny dudes, not a whole lot of control. And so when they put out a bunch of other little dudes, they were able to just chump like crazy, and we couldn't get through. And this deck only has Bloated Contaminator with having Trample on it. So everybody else was just really, really, really little. The Venerated Rotpriest allows you to kind of get around things a little tiny bit, provided that you're going to be, playing like Infectious Bite on other things. But you have to have a bunch of these guys out to make it worthwhile. Yeah, this deck it needs to not go up against a swarm deck. That's where you just can't do anything about it. But it is fast. It is aggressive. It's a nice aggro deck. And what's nice is that we are going for for Toxic. So therefore, we only have to do 10 points of damage, not 20 points of damage, which makes everything go so much faster. Plus, look, nothing's more than 3 mana, so that makes this a fantastic aggro deck. All right, so let's run it down. Who is the MVP? Who is the most valuable player? I'm gonna say in this particular deck, it's Fynn the Fangbearer, totally, because he's able to take Death Touch and turn it into Toxic 2. And we had a bunch of Death Touch in there. Plus, we had our Basilisk Collar, which was able to give Death Touch to the guys that didn't have Death Touch. And so, therefore, if you put it onto a Bloated Contaminator, it would basically have Toxic 3, do 4 points of damage, and then do Proliferate, so basically doing Toxic 4. So, yeah, so Fynn the Fangbearer was definitely the MVP of this particular deck. It's interesting to see him come back. And he is doing a fantastic job. The other card I want to give a lot of credit to, though, is Necrogen Communion. The fact that it puts Toxic 2 on whatever creature you put it on, and then, you know, you can put it on a Death Touch guy or whatever. People feel like they're forced to jump in front of it. Sure, you don't get the Toxic 2 out of the deal, but they go out of their way to throw their guys in front of it when your guy just comes right back afterwards. You put it on something that has Death Touch, like the Skulldweller or Tinybones. Them delicious tiny bones, and you got a lot of good stuff going on there. You throw it onto a Bloated Contaminator. Once again, that makes him be a Toxic, like 4 essentially. By putting a Necrogen, and then if they manage to kill it, it comes back and it's still a 4/4 Toxic, essentially 2. So yeah, big time. Necrogen Communion really, really good in this deck, but I have to give it to Fynn the Fangbearer. Congratulations, Fynn. You are going to Disneyland. All right, let's go to it. Was this deck competitive? Absolutely. It's an 80% win rate deck. I got higher than that in casual. I'll tell you what, when I went over to ranked, I did not do well over there. I did incredibly poor. But that's the problem, is that sometimes, things just don't go your way. And but I believe, this deck came up off of a list of other people who are playing it ranked, and they got 80% out of it. So I believe this is by far a competitive deck right now, big time. I know I've been playing against other people playing decks like this one. Yeah, it does very well. It's just a very early deck. You have to be able to grind out early and keep blocking to be able to take this deck down. Let's see, number 2, was this deck fun? Absolutely. To me, it's almost like, is this deck aggro? This deck is 100% aggro. I mean, look, it's like the middle finger of aggros there. Everything's a 2, got bunches of 1s. You're definitely putting out a creature on the first turn. That is fantastic. The worst part is when you put out, because it's all like tap, this thing comes in tap, this comes in tap, this comes in tapped. We got no fast lands in here at all, but we do have, some Surveils and some Scries. This one, I don't know, I'd probably replace this with one of the other. It could be fast to start off with. That'd probably be better in this case. Because it's an aggro deck, so therefore you need early mana. And by having all of these guys down here, it's kind of rough sometimes when that's all you pull. So I'd probably change up the mana a tiny bit. But other than that, this deck was incredibly fun. I love a good aggro lineup, and this is definitely right in that particular wheelhouse. I like the fact that they try playing life gain against you, and you're like, I don't care. If you don't got, like, poison get rid of, which there isn't any, then you're not, it doesn't make a difference what's going on. I love playing that kind of a deck. I hate playing against it. I love playing with it, though. I always like the fact this isn't the Dimir version, because with the blue one, all you're doing is just card draw, draw, and you're just, maybe you put out some black stuff. There's pretty much no creatures. It almost feels like all you're doing is control, and I find that to be really boring. But this is an aggro creature-based deck that's big time into poison, and it is glorious. All right, lastly, was this deck interesting? Toxic is making a comeback, probably because Fynn the Fangbearer is into, came back with, I loved Kaldheim. Kaldheim was such a fantastic set. But getting foundations and you're getting all your good cards from before. One of the great things is if you've been playing for a while, you probably already got a bunch of the cards. So therefore you don't have to go and get them again. I will. It'll just happen because, you keep accumulating more cards over time. But still, I was able to use the Kaldheim cards straight up, and we're ready to go. So big time, I'm a huge fan. This was an interesting deck because it wasn't the Dimir version of Toxic, and I liked it quite a bit. All right, so let's add this thing up. Was this competitive? Absolutely. Was this deck fun? Yes, sirree, Bob. Was this deck interesting? Totes my goats. That makes this into an A+ deck. A+. And as I'm required by federal law to say, this deck is so choice. I'd highly recommend you pick one up, should you have the means. That's all for now. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like and subscribe. From all of us here in the underground secret headquarters of Uncommonly Good MTG, have a great day. In the words of my people, be excellent to each other, and party on, dudes.